Hi and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at where is this connection headed. There are three groups to choose from. Group one is this flower agate, along with these cards. Group two is the mahogany obsidian, along with these cards. And group three is the selenite, along with these cards. So if you want to take a moment to center, focus on your breathing, and feel whichever group, maybe multiple groups or perhaps all of the groups that you're most drawn to, I'll give you a minute to make your selection and then we'll get right into it. And there are timestamps for each group in the description box of the video if you would like to jump ahead, which I do recommend using so that you can skip over me shuffling cards in between groups to clear the energy of the group I've just read for and tap into the energy of the group I'm about to read for. So again, I'll give you a minute. Please use the timestamps and we will get into your reading. Hi, group one. You chose the flower agate along with these cards, which I'll start with to get a feel for where is this connection headed. We've got miracle healing, seahorse spirit, watch and wait, daffodil fairy, new beginnings, Ten of Wands, Eight of Pentacles, Seven of Cups, the Moon, the Hanged Man, and Two of Cups. So change is definitely in the air in this connection. Things might have been dormant between you and this person for a while with the seahorse spirit. I'm getting this kind of feeling of in the wild when the female lays the eggs and the male seahorse then protects those eggs, guards those eggs, watches over those eggs until they hatch, keeping them safe from sort of outside influences, making sure that everything, is kind of safe. It's that sanctuary, tending to those fresh seeds, that new beginning. And so it's really the sense of a lot maybe not happening from the outside, but there is change that is occurring kind of in the more subtle layers of this connection. This can even relate to somebody who maybe had distanced themselves from this connection in the past, had sort of pushed themselves away from this, pushed you away. But there's a sense here that kind of deep within their heart with the moon, this sort of deeply embedded energy, that there is this protectiveness about this. They pushed you away, but not wanting you to go too far. Somebody who might have still kind of kept an eye on things, kept an eye on you, or at least were energetically still to some degree very cognizant of the bond between the both of you, watching over this, kind of watching and feeling into the evolution that might have been taking place within you personally as you were sort of dealing with the emotions and the sensations that come with that, maybe with some rejection that had happened, or somebody that had pulled away, maybe even ghosted you without any kind of an explanation, and the confusion that you've been grappling with, the heavy feelings that you've been trying to kind of deal with, this sense of burden. And there is this energy here of this person, at least from the higher self level, definitely still participating in this connection to some degree. In a way that might have been subtly felt by you, or kind of through intermittent periods of feeling their energy, only to have them kind of pull away, sort of this idea of ebb and flow between the both of you. Also, again, with the seahorse spirit, it's bringing to mind this image of seahorses and how they wrap this tail around like the kelp or the coral, and then their body is just sort of drifting with the ocean tides, going with the flow of things, not trying to fight that, but really just, in this space of being, just allowing themselves to be carried, trusting in that, that anchoring, that core, that root. And so this really feels like somebody who has started to sort of lean into that, into trusting in this connection, somebody who's starting to become very cognizant of the bond that the two of you share, somebody who may have also gone through some trials and tribulations in their own life, and is really starting to reflect times that they might have felt very alone in this connection, times where, whatever series of circumstances they were presented with because of some choice with the Seven of Cups that they had made in the past to walk away from this, to push this connection away. There's clarity which is coming to that with the Hanged Man, this illumination that is happening, that maybe walking away from this connection in the past had sort of been at the detriment of some kind of spiritual stability or emotional stability that this connection embodied, or that this connection offered to this person. They're starting to, again, become really aware of that, starting to really kind of tighten their grip on this connection, and viewing this connection as a source of grounding, as a source of anchoring to them, that despite the ebbs and flows, also with the moon, some cycles that they may have been going through, some cycles they may have been trying to break out of, that there's been a constancy to this, almost a energetic support system from this connection. This feels like very much mirrored energy, that as the two of you have really pulled away from each other, and you've kind of been on these separate journeys, it's this idea of parallel paths, sort of the two of you, kind of at a distance from one another, but very much in sync in terms of, focusing on your own individual sort of lessons or experiences, but being very much in alignment with that. Feels like a realization that is coming to this person, or as they have, really come through some of these cycles, work through some of these things, even deeply, kind of in their subconscious here, these deeply sort of embedded truths or wounds or even shadows that may have come up. And as they have really faced that, they're starting to really recognize that and reconcile some of these things. It's causing them to almost, look up, to look back at this connection, to see this connection from a new perspective, which is giving them, a sense of stability. It's illuminating a lot for this person. They feel to be coming to this crossroads period again, in terms of just the inner revelations that have happened, some things that they have, overcome, maybe some other new beginnings that are starting to develop and grow, or that they're starting to think about that are still in that gestation period in their life as they are kind of in this process of planning and determining, what do they want to build out of the wreckage of what was? What do they want to see moving forward? What do they want to experience? Somebody who has really let go of belief systems, mindsets, people, places, things, lifestyles, and it's kind of in this process of finding themselves, finding what does resonate with them, what they want to again experience in their life going forward. Their attention is being brought back to this connection, and again, this period of choice is once again kind of on the horizon for this person. It's presenting itself. It feels that the choice that was made in the past has always been kind of in the back of their mind. It's been something that they have reflected about. This is a connection where it's not been out of sight, out of mind, but it's been something that it's been very firmly grounded. It's firmly rooted in who they are, in terms of maybe some regrets that they have, something they wish that they had done different, or armed with this new information, knowledge of self, and some kind of development, some kind of evolution that has taken place. There's a sense here of recognizing they can't turn back time, but at least kind of looking up from whatever it was that had so fixated them, or had so been that point of focus. And there's this energy or this suggestion here of finally being in a place where of stability within themselves, where they are then able to kind of meet you up there at your level. They're able to meet you at kind of that higher vibration of love. This is somebody who is recognizing this connection as a form of sanctuary for them, as a force of a source and force of stability within their life. Somebody who wants to participate in that more with this daffodil fairy in the new beginnings. This could be, again, kind of that energy of rebirth happening, renewal happening, a coming together between the two of you, this internal balance that has happened between kind of the masculine and feminine polarities, the yin-yang polarities within this person, kind of a similar journey, a mirrored journey that you have been on. And the culmination of that is then being able to offer something of substance and of value to one another, to really be able, with this Eight of Pentacles, this idea of work, to really, have kind of this perspective and this ability to participate more fully in this connection, to kind of bring those tools and those skills that have been acquired personally into the development of the next stage of this connection. This feels like somebody who's ready to kind of put down the burden of separation. Somebody who's ready to, work on this connection by expressing some feelings, expressing some truth, maybe giving some kind of an apology with this miracle healing here, kind of seeing beyond the storminess that they may have been in, and recognizing that, the power is in their hands to create meaningful change in this situation in the here and now. Somebody who's coming out of this realm of just thinking about this, wishing for this, dreaming of this, thinking about the what ifs, and is getting ready to take some kind of definitive action. For some of you, this could be somebody who's on the precipice of really reaching out in a concrete way, in a material way, moving beyond kind of that 5D communication, that telepathy, the dreams, the energetic interaction. Somebody who may also be kind of at the point of, letting you know that you have remained in their heart. They have remained connected to you energetically, despite the way that, life and circumstances might have taken you both in other directions. A degree of uncertainty about, maybe this person moving toward the connection only to sort of pull away again. There's a sense of stability that is coming in for that. Kind of the seed or the spark of this attraction, of this energy, this chemistry between the both of you, getting ready to burst forth into sort of that energy of the of the new beginning, the new possibilities, a sweetness here, somebody who is stepping more into that kind of tenderness within themselves, somebody who is, preparing themselves and is right at the precipice of being very vulnerable with you, showing you a softer side of themselves, showing you, these kind of beautiful and intricate corridors of who they are at the soul level and at the core, which they may have really held back on before. This person could have had some, kind of fear of commitment, which caused them to sort of vacillate back and forth between participating in this connection, leaning into this, only to pull away. Again, with the moon and 10 of Wands, keeping a lot hidden, keeping a lot within, leaving you with a lot of questions and uncertainty, kind of the sensation of you feeling sort of pulled in multiple directions with this person, not really sure what to expect from them day to day. Times where, the two of you were very much in sync and things were very much going according to plan. You were flowing very nicely together, only to have this person sort of pull away or break away or kind of go into that shell very unexpectedly. Kind of this energy of repeated hermit modes almost. If it's somebody that you've remained kind of in contact with, there could be times of emotional distance that were sort of really unplanned for, really sporadic. And something that, again, was just kind of a lesson for you as well, to kind of go with the flow, to not allow whatever this person was trying to work through internally or any kind of triggers that were coming up, to make that choice within yourself, to not allow that to disturb your vibration too much. Kind of some skills that you may have had to acquire as well, as far as recalibrating yourself, learning to disconnect from some of the kind of the disappointment or the confusion associated with that, learning to kind of maintain your own peace of mind, your own focus, kind of independent of whatever was happening with this person. And so a lot of kind of evolution in the two of you, individually and in this connection, during whatever this circumstance was. For a lot of you, this feels kind of a complete separation, a complete no contact, where it seems like nothing has been happened. But again, a lot kind of gestating behind the scenes, a lot of healing taking place internally within the both of you, which has really now created the perfect recipe for the two of you to come back together in sort of more of an equal ground, greater knowledge of yourselves at the individual level, which is then able to facilitate kind of meeting each other with more compassion, with more understanding, being kind of appreciative and cognizant of the very unique bond that you have, being equipped to work on things, work through things in a new and different way. This person also, with this Cups energy and Eight of Pentacles, they could have really kind of done some work within themselves to, really try to communicate their feelings better, to learn to even understand those feelings within themselves. Someone who might have been kind of emotionally avoidant in general is now starting to learn how to articulate that, or learn how to kind of purge those feelings from themselves, rather than just kind of keeping that in there to fester and to be, a wedge to the experience of reciprocity in love. So it really seems that, with this kind of, this blossoming, this bursting forth, this person, reaching out, making this communication, moving towards you in the material sense, that this is, again, something very healing for the both of you. It can provide a lot of confirmation for you and for this person that, this bond is eternal, that the connection between the both of you, while it may have stretched very thin, it has not broken. That kind of the weight has been worth it. The work that you have done internally on one another has really equipped you for the possibility of kind of experiencing the next level of what this connection has to offer. There's a sense here of a new perspective, maybe seeing things from this person's perspective as they are able to kind of articulate more about some fears that they had that might have caused them to distance themselves, some things they've learned about themselves, or just this deeper commitment, making the choice to work on this connection, making this choice to show up in this connection emotionally, to show up in terms of time, dedication, effort in the material sense. Somebody who's able to really, follow through on the promises that they make, as opposed to just sort of presenting a bunch of sweet nothings, or overestimating their ability to commit to you, to commit to this. Somebody who's ready to take that next step, to enjoy a new cycle, a new phase, a renewal in this situation. So this, seems to be something that might even be kind of an energetic buildup. You might start to feel a shift, feel this person drawing nearer to you in the energetic sense. You could start to get some more signs about this person, a renewal of maybe some telepathy that could have kind of gone quiet for a while, for example. There's a sense here also with this this kind of last quarter of the waning moon on this card here, that, it's not in the very distant horizon that something will really shift in this connection. There's still a little bit more that this person really needs to sort of let go of, but they are in that process. They are kind of finishing up with this leg of purging some things out of their life, of really letting a version of themselves and how they have received and interacted with and conceptualized this connection and this energy in the past. They're kind of at that final stage of sort of letting that go. You're kind of right at the precipice of turning the page, having that blank slate, where the two of you then can again sort of let these burdens go with the Ten of Wands, and really kind of restart the connection, pick up where you left off, but in a renewed capacity, armed with kind of the lessons and the wisdom that has taken place during this period of separation, to be able to kind of feed into this connection more, to really be able to make concise choices as far as triggers or issues that the two of you will allow to come between you in the future, versus making that choice to kind of overcome those barriers of fear, those boundaries which might creep up, in the interest of kind of preserving and working toward and really savoring and enjoying this next phase or stage in this connection. So I'm going to get some messages from this person's higher self, group one. And before I do that, I'm going to go through the zodiac signs here. With Wands, we have fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. Pentacles is Earth, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. The Cups is water, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. The Moon is Pisces and Cancer. And the Hanged Man is Pisces. So now I'm going to get the messages from this person's higher self and see what do they want to tell you. Okay, and they say, I constantly feel you running through my veins. So that's a confirmation there of the persistence of this bond between the both of you, like in the seahorse spirit, this idea of as much as you might have kind of flowed away from each other, kind of wandered from each other, this person was the wanderer. Nevertheless, you have remained deeply rooted in their heart. This connection, the way that you've touched their life, there's been no replicating that. There's been no replacing that. As much as they may have tried to focus on other things, maybe even with Eight of Pentacles, focus on work, kind of shut themselves off to love in general, or this connection. It feels very pervasive, kind of at the quiet moments, when they're spending time alone, when they have time in solitude, or when they're just kind of engaged in kind of these routine and mundane activities, and these thoughts of you, memories, kind of recollections pop up intermittently throughout their day and very unexpectedly. And it's something that really feels like it, each time that happens, it kind of fills them with this surge, this renewal, that as much as they may have tried to run from that, they've now again sort of turned this corner They've turned this page in terms of really starting to appreciate that, really starting to recognize kind of the unique nature of this connection, viewing this and viewing you as standing out above all other experiences of love and connectedness that they've had in the past. And they also say, I feel so much joy with you. It's like I'm a kid again. So that is definitely an energy of renewal there with that reference to kids and children and childhood. And there's this urge that this person has to kind of move back into innocent times with you. Some nostalgia for maybe the initial stages of the connection before fear or circumstance really pivoted the two of you apart. There's this desire for that fresh start, for that renewal, for that beginning, to really get to savor one another once again, to really get to know each other once again. There's a sense of a lot of personal evolution having taken place, so it almost feels like on a certain level it will be re-meeting this person. You're getting to know each other all over again, getting to know each other from a different perspective, from a different vantage point. Armed with that energy of appreciation, there's this ability to really recognize and to really cherish aspects of one another and aspects of this connection that might have been taken for granted or overlooked in the past. And they also say, you are my treasure. So again, that energy of really wanting to savor this connection, protect this connection. This person is, recognizing how unique this bond is with you. And like the analogy of the seahorse that came out in the beginning of this reading, that, this person very much energetically bonded to you, tied to you. There's a feeling of not wanting to let this connection slip further away than they already have allowed it to. A desire to kind of shelter this connection, to be that source of sanctuary, to really appreciate and being able to recognize some of the more subtle value that the dynamic between the both of you has to this person, and also recognizing aspects of this dynamic and aspects of even you as an individual that stand out above all other experiences in love and connection that they've had in the past. So beautiful energy of somebody who is, might have been kind of, again, sort of taking this for granted, really distracted, kind of moving away, maybe a little overwhelmed by this connection, who is instead really looking at kind of the magnitude and intensity of the energy between the both of you as something to really be protected, to be kept close, something that they want to feed more into, they want to nourish, they want to help that to grow. Okay, and they say, your touch ignites a sun within me. So that's that energy of the spark, this eternal flame between the both of you. You could resonate as a twin flame. This can really, again, sort of signify your masculine or your feminine, really seeing things from a new light, having this desire to return to you, this closeness, putting you above all others in terms of romance, in terms of connection, maybe connections they've been in since the two of you kind of went into separation or kind of went your own ways, or this period also of reflection of other experiences that they've had in love, and even deep friendships that they've had, and in some way the bond between the both of you, this desire that this person has to cherish and protect this connection, it's far different than anything they have experienced previously. There's a sense of invigoration, of renewal, this desire to come out of this sort of shadowy or distant or quiet or cold period, to really feed into this connection, to really empower this connection, and to also experience the personal empowerment that is derived from being receptive, being open, participating in a reciprocal way in this energy and in this dynamic. And they also say, I want you to understand me. So that can be that energy of the moon, with, things this person had kind of held back on sharing, maybe some fears that they had, fears of commitment, wounds from the past that had been triggered that caused them to kind of pull away, a sense of this connection really representing kind of the next level in their life in some way, the next phase, the next chapter, and they could have been a little bit hesitant about that, hesitant to settle down, hesitant to really, take a chance, maybe fearing that they didn't quite have what it takes to be that, that protector, to really show up in a consistent way in this connection. And so they sort of pushed it away. They moved away from that, out of that feeling of inadequacy. And so there's a sense here that what this person has learned about themselves, the way they have learned to kind of articulate and communicate and understand these feelings and kind of these shadows and triggers that they have within them, they're now at this point of wanting to provide you with some clarity, wanting to kind of heal some of that hurt and that anxiety and that uncertainty, that confusion that you may have had, the sense of letdown at things being so intense, so good between the both of you, and then, kind of this person backing away or pushing this connection away. So for a lot of you, again, this communication, wanting to maybe start things off slowly, just kind of build up slowly, but somebody who, wants to kind of come back into this connection, into this situation, with more of a depth of emotion that they had shown you previously. Somebody who wants to really give more and to help build that aspect of the dynamic between the both of you, which might have been kind of in a deficit previously. That could have been a major wedge or a point of contention between the both of you. Is this resistance on this person's part to, really open up and be honest about their emotions, be honest about their feelings. This could have been somebody who just, really kind of reacted and sort of shut down, as opposed to kind of leaning into that and sort of processing that and working through that. But there's a sense of almost sanctuary and safety that they are now recognizing. Feeling very safe in your energetic presence while at a distance has really helped them to come to this place where, they're starting to build up that courage of wanting to kind of take that to the next level, take that to the next aspect. Really experiencing that sense of safety and being encouraged to open up about their feelings and about their fears. To show you parts of themselves that they may have really hidden from themselves, hidden from other people, and really starting to kind of unpack those things, really starting to want to show you kind of a different side, another facet of themselves, to kind of work through that. So the two of you can really become well acquainted, both in your sort of light and shadow aspects, both your kind of your fears as well as your victorious aspects of one another. And they also say, you help me understand myself. So again, that energy of understanding, this person is really looked to you as an example, maybe watching you from a distance and sort of the healing that you have gone through, that process of really picking up the pieces after, whatever has unfolded between the both of you. This person really recognizing that you mirror a lot for them. A lot of what they might have recoiled from or run from was in fact a projection of something within themselves. Any kind of feelings that they might not have been good enough. It was almost this failure to recognize that point of value within themselves. Anything where, they might have projected that it was too intense or, there was just too much being required of them. It's because they weren't really recognizing or valuing that capacity to really provide that much momentum, that capacity within themselves for that very elevated vibration. This is definitely somebody who is almost underestimating themselves. And kind of the more that you have healed, the more that you have reclaimed your power and you've kind of, again, sort of reinvented yourself out of this circumstance, or you've moved forward based on these circumstances in whatever way you have and as best as you've been able to. It's provided either a literal example for this person or an energetic example, to where, because your energies are so rooted to one another, sort of the work that one does helps the other and vice versa. So I'm going to get some guidance from Spirit now about the situation for you, Group 1. Okay, and we have gold, divine intervention. God sends miracles to answer sincere prayers. So that is a beautiful piece of advice, of guidance from Spirit. And again, we have this reference to miracles, as we saw here with miracle healing. So this is really some assurance that the circumstances you find yourself in with this person, this is not the end of the story between the both of you. There is a shift that is happening. There's almost this idea here of alchemy, kind of rendering that that shadowy lead of the internal planes into kind of the gold of wisdom, of knowledge of self, of the ability to show up in a more genuine vibration and authenticity, both in this connection and in life in general. A lot being transmuted between the both of you, individually, energetically. This process is happening even from afar, and this is really speaking about an opportunity on the horizon to again kind of transmute some of the difficulties you've faced into a brighter chapter, into a brighter experience, providing some clarity, providing some kind of answers, or starting to make sense out of what happened with this idea of understanding. It feels like somebody who's really going to provide a lot of clarity, give you some insight into their inner workings in a way that they might have been resistant to before. You might not have even been aware of these aspects of this person, this idea of a tenderness, somebody who's really worked to tap into their emotional body, who's done some healing, who's done some purging, and is able to really demonstrate that work to you in how they are approaching you, how they are, moving throughout this connection going forward, how they're able to, again, kind of follow through on promises made with concrete and consistent effort. So I'm going to get one more of these little affirmation cards for a little more guidance for you. Okay, and we have the Old One. The ancestors call, seek their wisdom. So this is really talking about, again, this wisdom, this alchemy, really transmutation happening within this connection, kind of the old way of interacting with one another, a version of this person that you were accustomed to dealing with in the past is really in this process of kind of waning, of falling away. A wiser, more self-assured, more self-aware version of this person is in the process of kind of making their way back into your orbit. And so this guidance really talks about also kind of keeping that open mind, being open to the possibility that and the reality that people can change. We often, are told that people can't change. It's, at a certain point, it's deeply entrenched. Habits or behaviors or patterns. It is what it is. A lot of people are really stubborn. They don't self-reflect, and therefore they don't ever change. But there is the possibility, that is an option for somebody to really step into that place of humility, to really confront their ego, to confront their shadows. It takes hard work. It's not something that happens overnight. Change can be a gradual thing. But it definitely first begins with that very crucial kind of decision point, that point of choice to recognize that something is not working, to really take that gaze or that kind of point of perspective from the outside, kind of blaming outside circumstances or outside people, and to turn that lens within, to really seek within and try to find what can be corrected internally in order to kind of exude and therefore magnetize in different experiences in the external realm. And so it does feel that, and again, with the idea of gradual change, this could be something where it's just kind of that first peak, that first hint of something metamorphosizing within this person. Even somebody coming back and presenting you with an apology, or a display of emotion which might be quite uncharacteristic for them. This can definitely be a first step along that vein of change, kind of like the idea of those first spring flowers that are blossoming, that portend a season ahead of growth and revelation and abundance. So definitely, you know, as you're feeling this shift, as you're feeling maybe this person moving closer, you're feeling something really start to stir within this connection, to remain optimistic that change can be possible. You know, holding on to some hope, or renewing some hope that this connection is not a lost cause, that no matter what might have happened, however much time might have passed, however resistant this person has been to sort of healing and development, or even how resistant you yourself might have been to kind of turning that gaze inward, to kind of evolving and moving past even beliefs of self, or the ways in which, you know, you've kind of chosen to understand your role in circumstances with this person and in other aspects of your life, understanding that, you know, it's a very fluid state of being. At any point in time, a shift can be made. And again, remaining optimistic that some kind of change is in the air in this circumstance, that change is possible in this connection. The story where it is right now with the two of you, this does not need to be where it ends. You can consciously make that choice also to sort of work on yourself, to shift your vibration, and that can really help to kind of pivot this connection energetically in other ways, with how grounded the two of your energy is together. This idea of almost being very kind of enmeshed with each other. Again, the work you do on yourself really helps to kind of energetically encourage or sort of pull this person in that direction as well. So I'm going to get some initials for you now. Group 1, this can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got M, W, Q, D, P, B, X, R, O, I, and A. So those are your messages, group 1. I hope they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry and some divination tools in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking those out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, Group 2. You chose the Mahogany Obsidian along with these cards, which I'll start with to get a feel for where is this connection headed. Got Inner Power, Mystic Meadow, Sanctuary, Spider Spirit, Make Your Dreams Real, Five of Wands, the Empress, King of Wands, the World, Eight of Wands, and Strength. So it looks like communication with the Eight of Wands could be on the horizon for you if you've been in no contact with this person. You might have been dreaming about each other a lot recently, or this person is dreaming of some kind of renewal with you. They've been putting a lot of thought and effort into completing some kind of cycle with the world, a cycle of distance, a cycle of separation, even coming to some kind of conclusion within themselves about maybe this kind of back and forth energy with the Five of Wands, trying to really fight off their feelings, a resistance to surrendering to this connection, to exploring this connection, to becoming very empowered by this connection. Somebody who might have been very overwhelmed by the dynamic saw this as maybe a distraction from other things that they were working on. This connection could have really triggered some deep kind of fears of intimacy, a fear of losing themselves or losing themselves again in a connection. If this person had maybe gone through a lot of kind of codependent relationships in their life, cycles within themselves, that they've put a lot of work into kind of breaking away from these patterns and habits. Maybe somebody who, did a lot of internal work prior to the two of you coming into contact, or had really had been starting to recognize some of these kind of themes in their life, or had, just recently come out of some kind of like a codependent, kind of a toxic relationship, and had reached that point of stability within themselves, had kind of reached that point of resolution within themselves about things they wanted to avoid. Somebody who had really taken the time to do that inventory about what they were looking for in a connection, and kind of the things to watch out for, and to kind of push away from themselves. And based on the nature of intensity of what you two experienced together with the King of Wands, some kind of maybe a Kundalini awakening that happened, or just this intense and deep attraction that they had to you, being very compelled, very magnetized to you, this desire to kind of link their life up with yours in some capacity, a lot of growth potential that they saw as well within this, a feeling of sanctuary, this desire for closeness with you. It could have really triggered some fears or hesitations within this person about maybe not wanting to let their heart get carried away with them, not wanting to get tangled up in the same kind of web of experience, some kind of a distorted power dynamic that they had been enmeshed with previously. This idea of almost with the strength kind of letting this fear take over, and kind of cause them to back away from this connection, to pull away from this connection, and just really needing time to kind of process things again with this kind of this energy of kind of combat here. It's like a kind of a battle between the head and the heart, recognizing all these kind of voices of fears and these potentials, and memories of past experiences really coming up, having to face each of these things, kind of work through those layers, and kind of reach this point of ascending that, of seeing things from a higher perspective. Recognizing red flags as false flags, recognizing any kind of alarm bells that might have gone off within them, as kind of the nature of those things, the genesis of those things being those wounds, being those triggers from past experiences, honoring those things, showing gratitude for that, almost that defense system that they have worked very hard, or that they are now starting to pay attention to and be cognizant of, that kind of defense mechanism within themselves. But then also this element of choice to hear that, to take that into consideration, and then to kind of look beyond that, to kind of also weigh in sort of that higher perspective as well, cognizant of sort of what could go awry in this circumstance, but then also being very aware of what could go right. So it feels that this person has been, again, on this process of kind of coming to terms with that. Again, really referring to maybe some kind of a list or an estimation of what they have created within them in terms of what they're looking for in a partnership. Kind of these core ingredients, or this vibration of sanctuary, a sense of really being safe to be themselves, being seen, being heard, being understood for who they are, even beyond words, just at a vibrational level. And so somebody who's really kind of been in this process also of kind of taking back their power from sort of those illusions and those narratives of fear that may have really been creeping up and trying to keep them within their comfort zone, keep them from experiencing and expanding upon kind of these energetic seeds that really presented themselves in this connection, or different points that you had come to of getting to know each other and really kind of feeling into this, that might have sort of triggered them to retreat in some way. So a shift that has happened, or something that is again coming to completion, where this person has again kind of reconciled that sort of the shadow and the light aspects of self, recognizing and honoring fear as a very it's part of their instinct. It's a very fear is something that can definitely be a source of safety. It can be kind of a guidance system for us, but at the same point in time, we can't allow fear to kind of keep us limited, to keep us from living life, to keep us from taking chances, just because in the past maybe chances that were taken didn't work out as we had hoped. And so this feels like somebody who is really taking that into account now, taking that into consideration, starting to focus on the potential here and what could really grow and blossom into a very beautiful and balanced connection. So balance really having occurred within this person, and again, this kind of this energy of really them wanting to reach out to communicate something that kind of brings to a conclusion this period of maybe running, pushing away, or being a little bit uncertainty. That there's clarity now, starting to see you as this wish fulfillment, starting to see this connection as the potential to really be something where the two of you can kind of weave your dreams together into a reality, something where, kind of armed with the wisdom of what did not go right in connections of the past, that the two of you can really have this potential to make something very magical together, something very satisfying together, something that, takes into account kind of these triggers and these wounds and these, kind of these very particular facets of one another, and really building upon that, really playing off that from each other. This sense of, really recognizing maybe that some of their deficits are your strengths, and vice versa, where it's almost this energy of like in tandem, the two of you kind of working together to sort of build this person entering into this point of wanting to do that, coming to that place of certainty. Coming to that place of recognition that this connection is worth taking a chance on, or it's worth kind of this renewal. It's worth kind of that evolution to the next step, that leap of faith off into the unknown. Somebody who also with Eight of Wands, this card of communication and dreams, here in the Spider Spirit, the two of you really meeting with each other in dreams. They could have had some prophetic dreams, or getting answers during kind of those quiet quiet periods, downloads that they may have even been getting as well, some clues that have been coming through to them where they're starting to recognize that maybe fear had kept them at a distance before, but what they were fearing was actually kind of unlocking that next step to empowerment through the force of love, something they may have been very unaccustomed to in the past. This person really starting to recognize, again, work that has been done on themselves has kind of effectively raised their vibration in the sense of being very self-aware, aware of their habits, aware of their patterns, their experiences in love previously, of disappointments, things that they don't want to replicate, but somebody who's starting to really to use that as armor, to use that as wisdom, so that they are able to navigate within this connection in a more kind of aware and precise way, kind of not overlooking things, not allowing things to kind of spiral out of control, but really seeking to address the particular and intricate kind of threads and the fabric of this connection as a whole. Somebody who's kind of ready to, sort of discuss these things, to build layer by layer with you. Somebody who's very cognizant of their own kind of comfort zone and their own triggers and fears, but is nevertheless willing to kind of take that chance, take that step, kind of that gradual building of this mosaic between the both of you, taking into account both of your fears, both of your experiences, both of your hopes and dreams, to kind of create this this very sound and almost taking into consideration, both of your sensitivities as well, kind of what you would like to experience in a connection, in a relationship, as different from what you have experienced together in the past. So this is definitely somebody who, this connection headed in the direction of building something, of making something with each other that not only kind of is responsive on the energetic level, but kind of bringing that energy of cohesion and possibility and potential, that energy of balance, utilizing that, infusing that in what you create together in the material world, being very cognizant of one another, taking the time as well to really get to know each other on a deep level, as opposed to, really rushing in. Again, this energy of the wisdom of kind of relationships gone sour in the past, and somebody who's really interested in kind of course correcting on sort of, building that inner terrain first, that foundation of trust, that foundation of friendship, and really knowing one another, and starting to open up and recognize that from that potential that, there is a gateway here. This connection provides a doorway to that wish fulfillment, and that by navigating those fears, by making friends with those fears almost, and those hesitations, and those, that very wild terrain of the unknown, that by walking through that, there is potential here for empowerment through this connection. There is potential here to really be invigorated, to allow this love and this connection to really fuel the both of you in the creation and experience of kind of your dreams in love and other dreams in life together. And so potential here, it feels like very kind of slow building, but important steps that are being taken with this Eight of Wands, kind of this connection headed in the direction of consistency. Somebody who's not wanting to really pull away, but somebody who's wanting to kind of bit by bit, inch by inch, to move their way through fears, to move their way through those hesitations, to nurture this, to protect this, to honor this connection, to really, ascend in this connection, to see how high this connection can go, to see how deep this connection can go as well, recognizing that that kind of root, that spark between the both of you, and not allowing that seed to pass them by, but somebody who's really interested in kind of tending this, and again, seeing that flourish, seeing that grow, somebody who's looking beyond fears to recognize kind of these kernels of potential that also exist there, and somebody who, can really, again, see this connection, see this relationship as blossoming and budding into something very satisfying for the both of you, very empowering for the both of you. Kind of this idea of gentleness and strength give and take, reciprocity in a way that might be very unusual for this person in relationship dynamics and unusual for you as well. But it seems that the two of you are coming into this place of really understanding each other, or kind of opening up those lines of communication to understand each other. Kind of this idea here with inner power of, knowledge is power, revealing what has been hidden, revealing what has been kind of held back, even if not directly, articulating those fears, at least actively seeking to push beyond those barriers, to move out of that kind of shadowed and cloaked energy, step out into the light with this, step out into, possibility with this, to believe and put faith in the concept and the reality that, it's not too late to salvage something out of this situation, or if this is something where, you and maybe this person have been, deeply kind of wounded in love in the past and have been kind of guarded, or, just the intensity of this connection caught the both of you by surprise, really caught you off guard here. That this is something where kind of the temperature of this connection is headed more in the direction of trust, of trusting that the stories of the past do not need to replicate themselves in the future, that you're kind of safe within yourself, this energy of sanctuary. You're safe to open up your heart to this connection. You're safe to open up to love, that this is a connection that definitely has a lot of beautiful potential, focusing on how this is very different from experiences of the past, as opposed to overly focusing on, again, that kind of fear and that conflict energy and those worries of sort of worst case scenario. So definitely this connection headed in a very kind of beautiful direction, this change happening on the intricate layers, on the inside layers, something in both of your perspectives, and how you are receiving this energy, how you are thinking about this, again, focusing on the possibility for success rather than failure, that is really opening the door, establishing this portal for the two of you to walk through, to not only experience a balanced relationship, but to also really conquer some fears within self, to achieve that balance within self where you're cognizant of those hesitations and you step forward anyway, with courage and faith that something beautiful resides on the other side of those gatekeepers of fear and hesitation. So in terms of signs with the wands, we have fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The Empress is Taurus and Libra. The world for me as a reader is fixed energy, Aquarius, Taurus, Leo, and Scorpio, and strength is Leo. So I'm going to get some messages from this person's higher self for you now, group 2. What do they want to say? Okay, I feel so much beauty, harmony, sweetness, and shelter between us. So that's definitely that energy of sanctuary and Empress. This person feeling very drawn to you, feeling very drawn to this connection, starting to really recognize and trust that they are safe to open their heart to this connection. That again, the past, their experiences in love does not need to dictate the future. Somebody who's moving more toward that optimism as opposed to overly focusing on what could potentially go wrong in this connection. They are choosing instead to focus on what could go so wonderfully right. There's definitely this energy of harmony between the both of you, this resonance between the both of you that's very subtle. And it feels that it's almost helping to calm this person as they are, really addressing and working through some of these fears, that kind of the persistence of that, this very subtle and energetic vibration between the both of you. It's kind of this constancy through this kind of storm and inner conflict that they might have been going through, this back and forth sort of energy. And as those storms have passed, as they are allowed themselves to recognize these fears, honor these fears, and make the choice to move past these fears, maybe having some dialogue with themselves, kind of talking themselves off the ledge almost. Really unpacking that to try to figure out the root of these things. Like, is this a true red flag or is this a false flag? Am I just being kind of encouraged by my ego mind to stay within my comfort zone, to stay in what is known and what is familiar, which might be kind of the expectation of disappointment? Or am I ready to take a chance? Am I ready to open my eyes to the possibility of something more, of something beyond that, to kind of wish those parameters of the ego and that defense mechanism well, and proceed anyway, proceed with caution, but nevertheless make that forward momentum. So it's somebody who's really leaning into this more of this beautiful and kind of sheltered energy between the both of you. This connection also, again, kind of transcending some mutual fears. Maybe this person's, the way in which they kind of got a little bit skittish or pulled back, and you really energetically sensing that, or, maybe seeing kind of some ghosting that went on, or them kind of, withdrawing their communication, withdrawing their interaction from you, and sort of the questions that has left you with. It feels very much like you are also kind of unpacking those fears, unpacking that hesitation, learning to see beyond that, to recognize how, those attributes they mirror something in you as well. Recognizing some of the fears that you might have in this circumstance, the intensity of this, the potential that this could grow into, and how outside of maybe the comfort zone and expectation of disappointment that you had been accustomed to that is. Either disappointment with what you've experienced with this person up to this point in time, or other instances of romance in your past. So the two of you, this connection really evolving into this place of trust, that being a major theme of where this is headed. And they also say, I would live for your smile and would die for your kiss. So again, that very warm and magnetized energy. This person seeing you as a very nurturing energy, feeling very nurtured within this connection. Somebody who is starting to really open up to the fact of the possibility of having that emotional sanctuary, having that energetic sanctuary, which is something they might have been very unaccustomed to in connections in the past. Kind of this fear of being vulnerable, or this fear of really maybe letting you see into some of these shadows, kind of very difficult connections and relationships they had in the past, and just kind of trying to hide that stuff away, trying to push forward as best as they could, and sort of the dynamic between the both of you really bringing a lot of that to the surface, for healing, for reconciling, so that they can move forward to the potential of a different kind of narrative in love, a different experience of learning. Someone who may have learned, had many lessons in what love is not, and this connection really providing that opportunity to learn what love is. And as much as that might have been something that they really kind of craved and hoped for, when that reality presented itself, it could have felt, again, very outside of that comfort zone, to where they really pulled away. They sort of tucked away from that. Not sure if it was trustworthy, that energy of sanctuary, not being sure if they were ready to let go of that wounding they had become so accustomed to as well. But a shift happening where, this definitely with kind of this yellow energy here, this solar plexus energy, this connection moving in the direction of being very empowered, to people who are really feeding into this, who are trusting this, who are, allowing themselves to open up and be empowered by love, as opposed to allowing kind of stories or experiences even with one another in the past to kind of erode the potential that exists. And they also say, I'm bleeding, but you can't see my blood. So again, a lot of wounds and hurt that this person may have really had from other relationships in the past, people that were careless with their heart, instances where they, maybe did overlook genuine red flags, or just allowed themselves to fall a little too deeply and too quickly for somebody. And so some fears that have really caused whatever the circumstance and the distance and kind of the uncertainty, or this almost just this hesitation at a point of choice and change. where this person is almost maybe sort of held back from taking things to that next level, taking that next step. And they're starting to recognize that what has been keeping them back, what has been keeping them at bay, is kind of those ghosts of the past, that fear, a fear of maybe repeating some kind of a cycle. But with this Eight of Wands, it seems to be something that they may be on the precipice of communicating some of this to you very directly, really sharing maybe some things about their past, or they're just starting to communicate with themselves, really starting to, again, kind of talk themselves off the ledge, really starting to rewrite that narrative within themselves as far as what is possible in love moving forward and in this connection. Okay, and they say, my heart skips a beat when I see you. So again, a lot of intense feelings here. The sense of almost wish fulfillment, almost this connection in certain ways being everything that they were looking for, and that being very overwhelming. Somebody who may have really been kind of praying and hoping that they could find some form of deliverance from their experiences in romance in the past, and then when that shows up very unexpectedly, kind of this idea of some kind of an activation or an awakening happening, and that being very overwhelming. Something that might have kind of caused them to pull back, but at the same time, it's something that's very undeniable, kind of the unique bond between the both of you and how compelled they are to kind of move towards that. They find this connection very, very pleasurable. The dynamic between the both of you, even this energetic dynamic as, they've kind of been figuring some things out. You've kind of been processing some things as well. There is this space of peace within that. There's this space of empowerment within that as well, that is causing, it's causing and helping them to really move past these kind of barriers of fear. And they also say, I long for the time when your lips would kiss mine. So they're very drawn to you, drawn to move closer into this connection, to participate more in this connection than they have up to this point or in the past. Somebody who's kind of ready to give emotionally, to receive the love that you have to give. And they also say, do you want this? So they are ready to make some kind of change, take that leap of faith to close out and move away from some kind of cycle of fear. They might be a little bit hesitant still because they're not sure if maybe how they have reacted or the ways in which they've pulled back. Has that left you with some kind of confusion? Kind of trying to decipher if this connection is real, if the two of you, you really feel this intensity too. Are you ready to participate with them, to really, bear all to one another, to really, dig past some of those kind of wounds and fears and blockages, to really, express one another to one another in a way that you might not have done up to this point in time. Maybe this is something that you kind of got to that point, sort of these initial stages of this connection, and it just really never got off into that next level. But this is something that this has stayed with this person. This has been on their mind. They're ready to take that leap of faith, to communicate something, to feed more power into this, to put belief that things can work out between the both of you, that this connection can become something that is very fulfilling for the both of you, that you can build in very intricate ways, in very important ways. You can build with each other on multiple layers. So somebody who's leaning more into that energy of trust, and really at that point of kind of waiting for that reciprocity from you as well, even energetically, that you're willing to participate in this, you're ready to participate in this. Somebody who might even be kind of coming back around and letting you know that as much as they were confused or they were uncertain, they have that certainty now. They know what they want, that this connection is something that they want. They want to see where this goes. They want to build. They want to rebuild. They want to move forward into a new aspect of the dynamic than you have experienced up to this point together. So I'm going to get some guidance for you now, group 2, about the situation. Okay, and we have sodalite. Socialize or join in. Make healthy and supportive new friendships and connections by getting involved with a group of like-minded people. So this is really talking about that communication that could be coming in for a lot of you. Somebody really sharing some deeper layers of themselves than you have gotten to know up to this point in time. Somebody who is really recognizing you as kind of very well matched with them, almost this counterpart energy or this deep soulmate energy. There's a resonance between the both of you. Somebody who's wanting to participate in this, somebody who is, recognizing you as kind of this resonant soul, this kindred spirit, part of their soul family. And so the guidance here is just, with this kind of this third eye illuminated here to really trust your instinct, trust your intuition as this person comes forward and what they might present, or kind of the ways in which the conversation opens up. You kind of start to get to know each other on kind of these deeper levels, really taking the time to build that foundation of friendship, or reestablish that foundation of friendship with one another, to take that friendship to that deeper level, that next layer, with this image here also of this web, just this idea of really coming into a space of familiarity with each other in a very delicate capacity, but at the same time kind of learning each other in a more intricate way than you might have done previously in connections. There's a sense here of time being on your side, that as much as you both might feel very compelled toward one another, this urge to kind of rush in, to kind of just build things, build it slowly, build it consistently, really savor that sense of sanctuary. Cherish that, be very grateful for that, and really to look at this also from the perspective of this opportunity for love and connection that you are faced with now. It really is the direct result of some kind of process that you both have gone through in the past to recognize some cycles and patterns within yourself and within your connections, romantic or otherwise, some things that you've really broken away from, that you've really closed out, that you've maybe even tendencies or patterns within yourself that you are now cognizant of. And this is almost like spirit saying this is a new opportunity to put these tools to use, to really experience something different than what you have before. This connection with this person in some way, or the level that this connection is getting ready to ascend to, really being a new experience in love and connection than what you both have had individually in the past. So being very kind of open-minded about where this can go, what this can lead to, and being very cognizant as well that the future is unwritten in this circumstance. The past does not need to dictate the future, and so to be very mindful and very present with one another as you kind of build this bond, you build this very intricate system where you're aware of one another, you get to know one another, you kind of build toward that mutual place of sanctuary, and then really kind of trusting in the times where maybe things are triggered, learning to feel into that, as opposed to just really taking things at face value. And that by doing that, this is something that can definitely grow into something that is very satisfying for the both of you, something that is really where the two of you are kind of entering into the stage of being on the same page for what you want in this connection, and kind of the route and method and pace at which you want to build that together. So I'm going to get another one of these little, like an affirmation card for some more guidance for you. Okay, and we have the soothsayer. Travel the road seldom taken. So this is really talking about trust, about, again, being very mindful of the voices of fear that might be creeping up, have in the past, or will present themselves as this connection progresses, and really taking the time to evaluate that, to step back and look objectively, and to recognize, is this, are these fears, are these triggers, is this genuine, or is this almost my ego self sounding the alarm, ringing those bells, trying to keep me contained with what is safe and what is known, no matter how uncomfortable or disappointing that was. There's an energy here of opening yourselves up to being pleasantly surprised at what you can experience in terms of love and connection. This idea of the road seldom taken, where this connection between you is really entering into a new phase, something you haven't experienced with each other in love previously, and also in general, this connection being something neither of you have experienced in love up to this point in your life. So again, that sense of really having come to this conclusion of learning what love is not, and this connection being that the kind of birth of learning what love is. So I'm going to close this reading for you, group 2, with some initials. This can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person. You could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got X, L, T, K, F, W, H, I, R, Z, and G. So those are your messages, group 2. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry and some divination tools in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking those out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well. Hi, group 3. You chose the Selenite along with these cards, which I'll start with to see where is this connection headed. We've got letting go, Rainbow Waterfall, Miracles. Ant Spirit, Time to Collaborate. Four of Cups. Three of Swords. Queen of Pentacles. Ten of Cups. Knight of Swords. And Four of Wands. So it definitely looks like a chapter of separation, a period or an experience with this person in this connection is coming to a conclusion. With the Three of Swords here in this imagery where, you know, she's holding these roses, she's holding on to the thorns, the difficult and the painful experiences that you have had with this person, the difficulties, the uncertainty, but, you know, she's not paying attention to these things. She's almost looking beyond at something else, seeing beyond sort of the disappointments and what has transpired and focusing on what can come, what else is there in this circumstance. So this could be something where, you know, this sense of renewal really comes in. Somebody who, you know, might have kind of taken this connection for granted in the past. Somebody who, you know, wasn't really willing or able to participate in this connection fully in the past, left you with a lot of questions, left you with a lot of heartbreak, left you with this kind of disappointment, overly focusing with the Four of Cups on sort of the unactualized potential between the both of you, or maybe ways in which you had invested emotionally, but then that just kind of came to a stop. This is somebody who, you know, is moving into that place of being ready to offer that cup of love, being able to kind of participate more fully, to kind of meet you at that emotional level. So a new kind of phase in this connection with Ant Spirit as well, and this energy of collaboration, this idea of teamwork. It really might have felt like you were the only one investing time or care or attention in this circumstance. This person could have been, you know, very withdrawn, maybe even very much focused on work or on other things. Somebody who, you know, could have had kind of a fear of commitment, wanted to stay single, wanted to stay unattached. Somebody who might have felt that their autonomy could have been very threatened by coupling up. Somebody who didn't want to lose themselves to the connection, who was really afraid of kind of taking that next level, where their identity as the individual expands into embracing this concept of partnership and unity. But it feels that in this period of separation and distance, instead of just, you know, continuing to focus on kind of what has gone awry, the fears and the wounding and all the things that were really stirred up within this person, they too are starting to look at, you know, kind of life beyond that, the potential beyond that, kind of moving beyond that, those fears and those triggers, to focus on sort of lifting this connection up to the next level, rising up to the next level in this. Again, moving beyond those fears and what has happened in the past, and kind of a breakthrough energy, coming to the surface of things, coming to the like the clarity of things, the root maybe of why they had these fears and hesitations, or really recognizing you as well with the Ten of Cups as wish fulfillment, as somebody that they could really build a very beautiful life with, starting to let go of those fears of commitment, the fears maybe also of making the right choice, kind of this idea of not wanting to build a connection with somebody only to watch it fall apart. Maybe this person had some kind of a major breakup or a divorce, And this could have really, impacted them in terms of not wanting to open their heart up to love again, or love in that capacity. Somebody who, might have still been nursing a lot of heartbreak within themselves, harboring that, kind of holding on to that, holding on to those wounds and those fears, and kind of what went awry in their love life prior to meeting you, prior to this connection. But there's a sense of transcendence with that, a sense of this person seeing you in a new light, seeing you standing in your independence, seeing you standing in your self-assuredness, recognizing you as someone who's very comfortable in your own identity, in your own individuality. You have your own life, you have things going on for yourself. You may be focused on cultivating abundance for yourself. You may have really let go of the expectation of this person returning to you, or you've let go of any ways in which kind of your mood and your stability and your happiness is contingent on their actions and their behaviors. And it's the reverberation of that process, that act, that choice within yourself, that has really kind of allowed this person the space and the freedom to really kind of witness and to experience this connection and the potential that exists here from a whole different perspective. This is something where this is almost, it feels like a miracle healing almost, a circumstance on the horizon, a transformation of how this person is willing and able to kind of show up in this connection, a transformation in how they are kind of viewing themselves and their behavior in this connection in the past, that can really lead to a point of cleansing, lead to a point of clarity, this energy of almost refreshing the connection, starting again, renewing this, feeding more into this emotionally than they had in the past. Someone that could have been very emotionally withheld, emotionally withdrawn, is kind of letting those past heartbreaks go, letting those disappointments and fear go, in the interest of, again, participating more fully in this, working toward building that foundation, that stability with you, this energy of collaboration here. Or it might have been very one-sided before. This is this person really, kind of reconciling the light and shadow aspects of themselves, the yin-yang polarity, the masculine and feminine polarity within themselves, and really being able to meet you in that space where you have also done that work within you. You have also balanced out the shadow and the light. You have also balanced out, or are working toward balancing out, those masculine and feminine polarities within self. So this is the energy of two fully articulated individuals coming together to create something of stability, the energy of reciprocity here, of working together, relying upon each other, leaning upon each other, encouraging and challenging each other toward the establishment of a foundation in this connection, and kind of the maintenance of the stability of that. With the Knight of Swords, this is, this energy of clarity that has come in for this person, this truth. He's holding that Ace of Swords, that sword of truth there. This is somebody who's, no longer running from the truth of that they see you as this wish fulfillment. They see you as this very kind of nurturing and abundant energy, somebody they want to build with, somebody that they want to grow with. Recognizing this connection as having all those ingredients, all the components of something that could be very lasting, something that could be very harmonious. It's almost in some way that vibrationally you are the song of their soul. And that you two really, you resonate together very strongly. You work together very well on these intricate and kind of energetic levels. And there's a sense of, wanting to participate, wanting to work with this connection more, to create a symphony out of this experience with the both of you, as opposed to something that was, again, just very one-sided, somebody who's wanting to step in, who's wanting to really collaborate and work together. Kind of this idea as well about this connection really being wish fulfillment, and this imagery here of as above, so below, bringing those dreams out into reality, taking that longing out from the heart space and doing something in a material sense to make that a reality, recognizing a wholeness within themselves, kind of picking up the pieces, fitting those together, becoming a fully articulated individual who is cognizant of and very comfortable with both their positive and negative polarity, the light and shadow aspects of self, and from that state of wholeness is able to kind of collaborate with you and sort of put together the pieces of kind of the larger meaning, the larger implications of the two of you coming into each other's lives, the bigger picture of what this connection can become. And so this is a beautiful energy here of, this connection headed in the direction of renewal. Almost this idea here of a floodgate being opened as well. Things that might have been repressed or hidden or denied in terms of the feelings, allowing these things to flow, allowing these things to be known, to be expressed, to pour forth. This may be somebody who, is able and willing and ready to have that deep emotional conversation with you about some of their fears, about, what they want out of this connection, how they view you, where they want to take this connection. With this imagery here also in this 10 of Cups, and we've got this crone, this archetype of wisdom here, that this time apart, this time of separation, that this person has really done some work as well with releasing some heartbreaks of the past, even disappointments in this connection, and they have really kind of pulled out the wisdom, the important bits, sort of the takeaway from these experiences, and they have really let a lot of that go, let a lot of the debris and the baggage go. This is somebody returning as a wiser, as a more concise and more fully articulated version of themselves, fully aware of their light, fully aware of their shadow, of their triggers and their tendencies and their desires, and things they need to work on, and things that they really just owe it to themselves and owe it to you in the connection to let that out, to let that shine. Somebody who's stepping more into this place of being very comfortable with who they are, comfortable in their skin, comfortable with where their journey in life has brought them up to this point in time, kind of armed with that wisdom and that ability and that confidence to move forth into this loving connection, to take a chance on this, to turn the page in this connection, recognizing that there is something to be salvaged from this. There is something to be learned and something to be gained from this experience here, not shying away from kind of that wisdom and that experience that this connection can also afford the both of you moving forward, but somebody who is really starting to recognize their own strengths and being willing to kind of bring that to the table. With the Knight of Swords, they could be kind of on this brink of communication, wanting to come in very quickly. You might hear from them in the immediate future, in the near future. It's almost this very kind of eager energy where they're trying as much as they can with that Pentacles energy and kind of that archetype of the crone to kind of hold themselves back, to restrain themselves. But they've been filled with this vigor. They've been reinvigorated somehow. Something has really made sense to them. The ways in which they might have been self-sabotaging or sabotaged the potential of love and renewal, as a contrast to disappointments in love, that this connection afforded them, that this offered them the stability, the potential that they had with you. And maybe even seeing you with this 4 of Wands, which is often called the twin flame card, the 1111 card. They may be recognizing you as that counterpart energy, somebody who has kind of done that internal work within themselves, kind of that journey of self-love. They've come to that. They've reached some kind of a plateau with that within themselves. They found that truth. They have found that love, that that very wise and ever-present force of love that exists within them. And they're feeding that and they're nurturing that, and it is allowing them, it is enabling them to feed and nurture this connection as well. This is somebody who's gone on that journey within. They've come to that core truth, that core reality. They have found that. They have found that wisdom. They have cut themselves away from things that might have kept them at bay from that experience of the ultimate love, the love of self within. And now from that place of being very untethered, they are at this place of being able to, kind of bring that forth, to carry that forth, to express that out, love to another by virtue of loving themselves utterly and completely. So again, communication could be on the horizon for you. It seems like a new chapter between the both of you, one where you might have really almost let go of the hope of this ever happening, and for a lot of you, this person kind of re-emerging as a more solid version of themselves, a more authentic version of themselves, a lot of work that they have done on themselves that has enabled them to be able to work on this connection, to participate more fully in this connection. It may seem almost like a miracle that you hear from this person. And it's something where, you know, the change that they exhibit to you, this maturity, this stability, this groundedness, this knowledge of self, it could be quite different from the person you were dealing with in the past. It seems to be that, you know, in this connection, you're kind of headed away from the direction of grief and disappointment and confusion. There's a cleansing, there's a purging, there's a catharsis that may even happen energetically first. This person might be, you know, reaching out energetically. You could get a lot of telepathy from them, interacting with them in dreams and so forth, as kind of a prelude, a precursor, as they are making their way back to you. Again, this eagerness, this desire to step forward, but they're restraining themselves to some degree, wanting to almost do this right, to ensure the stability and the longevity of this connection once they reemerge into your life. Not somebody who wants to, you know, come in very quickly and then leave again, but somebody who has come to a place of wisdom, has come to value this, has come to see this connection in you as wish fulfillment in some capacity, and wants to do what is necessary and what it takes to make this connection kind of withstand the test of time, to sort of write a new narrative for the both of you, to move away from this energy of heartbreak and disappointment, and in the direction of stability and fulfillment. So in terms of signs with the cups, we have water energy, Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio. Swords is air, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. Pentacles is earth, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo. And wands is fire energy, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. So I'm going to get some messages from this person's higher self for you now, group 3, and see what do they want to say. Okay, and they say, I am so lost in the ocean that is you. So the future of this connection feels very mysterious to this person. There's a little trepidation about coming forward, really experiencing this, really taking things to the next level, but it's something that they're very eager to dive into this, to go more deeply with you emotionally in this connection than they have in the past. They're understanding that, you know, it may take some time to get there. It will, you know, it'll be a progression. It'll be a path. It'll be a gradual deepening of this bond. But they want to start almost fresh, start from the surface and work their way in, to get to know one another at all of these layers and levels, to confront some fears, and to find almost that treasure that's kind of buried, that very kind of rich wilderness that exists and that is there to be explored between the both of you, in terms of love and even an experience of one another that you hadn't had an opportunity to tap into before. And they also say, I'm burning with passion for you. So deeply attracted and magnetized towards you. Again, seeing you as this wish fulfillment. The more they have come to this knowledge of self, they've really worked through some things within themselves. They have gained this clarity that, you know, you are a person who is very compatible with them. Maybe even some clarity as well about you being a soulmate, a counterpart, a twin flame, if that's part of their lexicon, if that's something that, you know, in the course of their exploration and their searching, if they've come across and have resonated with these ideas. If that's not something that's part of their the nature of their understanding, then they are nonetheless recognizing this as a very significant connection. As they've kind of done this inventory of themselves and even sort of looked at other connections that they've had in the past, maybe even people that they've dated subsequent to the two of you kind of going into this separation. It's something where they're also letting go of this this urge of still looking for something but not quite finding it. There's this certainty that has come to them, this awareness that they have that you are what they have been looking for this whole time. And we also have, my love for you goes so deep. So again, this very profound soul level love that they have for you that transcends their experiences in love, what they imagined could be possible in love and connection. There could be a lot of telepathy going on between the both of you. A lot of energetic healing that is also happening from a distance. You could be dreaming about each other a lot. And, you know, just really, even without words, having that kind of interactive sort of ethereal etheric experience in that liminal space, in that dream realm, as sort of the gatekeepers of the ego are in hibernation, and you're able to just flow and experience each other in a very kind of open sense. And it's almost a feeling of, as this person wakes up, they're feeling these very profound emotions, maybe this deep kind of longing for you, this deep nostalgia, wanting to just kind of hold on to that, to capture that perfume, that essence of having met you, of having been with you, of having really, interacted with you again beyond kind of the boundaries and the trappings of the ego. There's a sense too that through that catharsis and healing that is happening in that energetic space, it's something which is helping to, as this person has kind of gone on this journey of healing within themselves as well, kind of letting go of some heartbreaks, some distortions, and some woundings. And in that void that is created, it is allowing space for this balm of love between the both of you to kind of wash through them, to kind of calm those kind of rough edges, those wounded edges, those tender places, and what they're experiencing energetically, just, being in contact with you and being a conduit for this exchange in a vibrational sense. It's really culminating in this desire in the mental space, within their physical body, this longing to kind of move back together with you, move closer towards you, participate in this connection, recognizing this as a very healing and a very nurturing and a very peaceful connection between the both of you, peaceful and yet passionate all at the same time. Okay, you will find me if you let go. So another confirmation of that with letting go. And again, the work that you've maybe done on yourself or in the process of doing, of letting go of the expectation of this person changing, of this person returning, letting go of the ways in which the disappointment from these circumstances kind of compromises your vibration, or any ways in which this has compromised the view of yourself as worthy and deserving of healthy and reciprocal love. The work you are doing on yourself, it reverberates to this person and vice versa. The work that they are doing on them is having an energetic effect on you. The two of you are very much in connection in the etheric sense, in the energetic sense, despite whatever might or might not be occurring in the material world. There is a bond, there is a co-creation that is happening here. You are a source of stability and support for one another from the higher self level, on this journey of becoming, on this journey deep within, to find and cultivate and embrace the love of self in an unconditional capacity, which then enables you both to emanate love in a higher and stronger way toward others external to yourselves. And we also have, you show me myself without my shell. So that's that counterpart energy here, this idea of the yin and the yang. If this person has been really emotionally withdrawn in the past, somebody who just kind of harbored heartbreak and just tried to move forward from that, you could be quite the opposite, somebody who's very much in touch with their feelings, or even the healing that you have done within yourself has helped to really kind of shine the light on some things within this person, wounds that have been unattended, that have become distortions, that have operated as wedges and barriers to the experience of love in this connection and in other areas of their life. And we also have, you are seared into my heart. So a confirmation here that this is not a situation of out of sight, out of mind. You and this person are very much entwined with one another. You are working in tandem with one another from the higher self level. This person is very cognizant to varying degrees for everybody of kind of how perpetual this bond is. They definitely see you as wish fulfillment. All of the story will be different for everyone. Everyone will be at a different stage of this. Some people could still be working through kind of almost this idea of this fear of authenticity, putting this connection or putting you on a pedestal to some degree, not feeling themselves really worthy of that, still needing to work through some of these shadows within themselves. But for others of you, for a lot of you, it feels like that a turning point has really come. There's been some kind of a milestone that this person has reached, some kind of a point of peace and really being able to reconcile kind of how they even were showing up in this connection in the past versus how they want to show up in the future, and creating those action steps necessary to kind of bring that out, to bridge those two polarities into action that creates the momentum of change. So I'm going to get some guidance for you now, group 3, about the situation. Okay, and we have Jade, wellness. The recovery of health and wellness is here. So that is some beautiful guidance that, you know, the two of you are really healing. You're doing this work separately and yet entwined. The work one does affects the other and vice versa. You're very much conjoined in this sense. You're ascending and rising to kind of a higher level of love within self, a higher level of self-acceptance, which is in turn helping to kind of elevate the potential of what the two of you can experience in the material world. A lot of heart healing going as you're letting go of maybe grievances of the past or expectations about this situation, confusion and wounds that this has kind of left you with. Entering into that space of peace, you are opening yourselves up to the potential to experience change in this connection, allowing that kind of energetic balm to infuse those vacant spaces within yourself that have been cleared, have been kind of washed clean of sort of the debris and the residue of heartbreaks in the past from other experiences with this person previously in this connection. So, you know, definitely this connection becoming more into alignment with the frequency of love. The two of you really finding and cultivating that love of self, coming to term with the polarities within you, the yin yang, the light and shadow, the masculine and feminine polarities within you, which is enabling you as individuals to then be able to meet and receive each other and experience each other at a greater capacity of kind of unfiltered love in this connection. So I'm going to get one of these little kind of affirmation sort of guidance cards. Okay, we've got the gnome of mushrooms and buttons. Seek silliness and joy. They are wise teachers. So this is really encouraging you to kind of alleviate periods of the deep dive with some elevation, shadow work, and kind of working through some of our pains and wounds and triggers that can be very arduous. It can take a toll on our emotional body, on our physical body, even as we are kind of processing some of those denser vibrations that we've been holding on to that have been weighing us down. So you're really guided to kind of balance that out, counteract that with times that you are just, you know, savoring how far you have come on this path, on this journey. You know, just taking some time to really look back on the past, even with a kind of a lightness, kind of laughing at how ironic things are, even where the difficulties that the two of you have faced have actually been the roadmap to this place of tranquility that you are coming to and that you are reaching within. Again, taking time to really cultivate joy, focus on that, focusing not exclusively on what you want to rid yourself from, but also taking the time to balance that out by putting focus and attention and action into what you want to create. You know, kind of letting go of some of that attention even on sort of the outcome in this circumstance, what this person is up to, redirecting that focus on what you can create for yourself, what you do want to experience in other ways in your life. You know, not focusing just so much on, you know, what you feel is broken or wounded or needs fixing within yourself, but taking time to also focus on what is so right about you, what is so perfect and so whole. Part of that process of healing is, I feel, coming to this recognition that we are never broken. Our parts are really just estranged from us sometimes. It's a gathering together of these parts, realizing ourselves as more of a vast individual than we may have given ourselves credit for. That these wounds within us, it almost makes up that intricacy, that fabric. It's kind kind of the necessary contrast of shadow and light. So taking some time to kind of take a breather from that very heavy lifting, that heavy work, and to again just experience some simple times, simple moments, simple pleasures, things that bring you joy, that bring you a sense of accomplishment, a sense of peace, and to really applaud yourself for the work that you've been doing. You know, even sending love to this person, to applaud them for the work and the bravery and the courage that it has taken to face some of these things within themselves, to get out of kind of an energy of stagnancy and to create some kind of momentum, to get those wheels turning, to create change within themselves, which can then help to kind of ripple out into the potential of change in this connection in the future. So I'm going to get some initials for you now. Group 3, this can be first, middle, or last name of you or this person, or it could spell something out, just whatever resonates for you. Got J, O, Y, Z, W, X, K, C, and G. So those are your messages, group 3. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, or share. If you'd like a personal reading, I offer them through my Etsy shop, and there's a link in the description box of the video for that. I also sell handmade jewelry and some divination tools in my Etsy shop if you're interested in checking those out as well. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.